All right, so we've come to combinations and permutations. This is going to get a little mathy. Pay attention. Don't concentrate so much on scribbling down everything I say. Watch it a couple times until it makes sense. And understand that when it comes right down to it, we're going to be using the calculator for most of this anyway. I just want you to understand where these ideas come from. So first thing we need to talk about is how many ways are there to arrange a group of things or people? For example, if you've got one person, there's no way to arrange that person. They're just one person. So the answer would be one. What if you got two people? How many ways can you arrange them? You got person A and person B. Well, you could have A and B, or you could have B and A, right? A could come in first and B second, or B could come in first and A second. So that's only two ways. Say AB and BA, only two ways to arrange those. What if we got three people? How many different ways can we arrange three people? Well, this is pretty simple. Let's call them A, B, and C. We got A, B, and C, or it could be A, C, and B, or it could be B, C, and A, or B, A, and C, or C, A, and B, or C, B, and A. And if you think about it, that's A comes in first, the other two can come in just two different ways. If B comes in first, the other two can come in just two different ways. And if C comes in first, the other two just two different ways. So a total of six. Four people, I'm not even going to bother looking at that. It's just too many. But I want to look at a different way to calculate this, which is, if we're talking about arranging people, think about it being first, second, and third place. If you've got two people, how many options are there to come in first? Either one of them could come in first, so there's two options. How many options are there for the second place person then? Well, if there's only two, then there's only one person left over for second place, and 2 times 1 gives us 2. So there's only two ways to arrange two people. We already knew that. How about three people? There are 3 options to come in first, 2 options to come in second, and then that leaves just one person to come in third. Okay? And those numbers should really go up here. 3 times 2 times 1 is 6 times 1, or 6, which is what we got looking at it this way. So how about 4 people? 4 options for first place. That leaves 3 options for second, 2 options for third, and 1 option for fourth place. And it didn't leave room there, but 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 1 is still 24. There'll be 24 ways to arrange 4 people. Now, mathematically, we look at this as something called a factorial. When we take any number, we'll use n for the number of how many things there are, we always do, and we multiply n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, 4 times 4 minus 1 times 4 minus 2 times 4 minus 3, etc. until we get down to 1. We call that n factorial. And it's really easy to calculate for small numbers. We just did that. Those are numbers you can multiply in your head. But when you start getting a little bit bigger, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, it's going to be a little bit tedious here. We know 2 factorial, we know 3 factorial, we know 4 factorial. For 5 factorial, I know it because I deal with this stuff all the time. It's going to end up being 120, but let's look at how to use our calculator to get this. And as always in these videos with a calculator, I'm not going to do it a bunch of times because it's just simple keystrokes you need to memorize, so watch it enough times to get it memorized. 5, you know where 5 is on the keyboard. You will find factorial under Math, which is a menu key here on the left. And you're going to want to arrow over to the right, or you could arrow to the left. It will scroll over. So arrow to the left to PRB, which stands for probability. This is going to be where you find all of your probability functions. And factorial is the 4th one in the list. Enter selects that, and then hit enter to execute it. Okay, so as I said, it's going to be 120, which is just 5 times the 24. So that goes there. How about 6 factorial? I will run that through one more time. 6. Over to Math. Left arrow once. Down to factorial, which is just, if you think that looks like an exclamation point, you are correct. That's exactly what it is. That gives us 720. Okay? So calculating a factorial in the calculator is a very easy thing to do. You just have to remember where that factorial key is. One more time, do 7 factorial, math, arrow over, down to factorial, and hit enter, and enter again to execute. And these get big fast, right? 7 factorial, we're already up in 5,000 range. Okay, so these calculations that we're going to be doing are going to be based on the factorial. Suppose we have 10 people in a race. How many ways can they come in first, second, and third, right? How many ways can the first 3 places be assigned or achieved by these racers? Think of it the same way we did up here. How many racers are there eligible for first place? Well, it could be any one of 10 of them. And for second place, could be any one of the remaining 9. Right, and after the first 2 places have come in, there's 8 runners left for third place. And that is 720. That's fairly easy to calculate. 8 times 9 is 72, times 10 puts a 0 on there. A little bit, it's the same number as 6 factorial, we just got it a different way. Okay, so this is the way we calculate how many ways some number of some greater number can come in. And I think it's obvious this is related to the factorial because we're talking about a number times the number minus 1 times the number minus 2, etc. We call this a permutation because the order does matter. And here's the formula for it. If we have n things and we're choosing k of them in a permutation where the order matters, first versus second versus third, we just need to do the permutation, the factorial for all of the people, and then all of the people minus the number we're looking at, factorial in the bottom. So in this case that we just looked at, 10, and we're finding 3. So 10 permutations 3. That is right here. We're going to do 10 factorial over 10 minus 3 factorial is 7 factorial, and that gives us this nasty thing here, which is really a lot. But of course, what's going to happen is the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are going to cancel, and that just leaves us with the 10, 9, and 8. Okay, and that's where we get our 720 from before. So think about it this way. If you've got this many things, and you're choosing this many from that group, and the order matters, and we're going to get to the other case next time where order doesn't matter, just take the first this many of this factorial. So you start like you're doing 10 factorial, you only do 3 numbers, that will give you this. The calculator will do it as well. So I'm going a little long on this one, but if we want to start with 10 people and ask how many ways can we get 3 of those in first, second, and third place, we're going to math again, over to PRB, and you might remember seeing this last time, NPR. I use NPK, it doesn't really matter, it's just 2 numbers. We choose that one there, and we say we want the top 3 places, and that's going to give us our 720. We are not done with this. I'm a little over time for this. I'm going to move on and do combinations next, and then we'll talk about the 2 together.